Hey traders, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Friday, December 4th. Happy Friday. Hope everyone had a great trading day. It's been a long week and I, for one, am looking forward to the weekend. So again, before we jump into today's video, if you could do me a solid, hit the like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps the YouTube algorithm get this out to as many people as possible. And subscribe to the channel, tick the bell, you'll be notified when we go live next. So in today's video, we're going to discuss the November jobs report, disappointing most analysts, and the US House passes an MJ bill that we've been looking at on the federal legalization. So I did a video, it's already got a ton of views, I think almost 200 views. So if you can go give me a like on that video, that'd be great as well. Make sure to share it. If we can get this out to the masses and we can get everybody on the legalization train, it's just going to help us all out in the long run. And I would appreciate that very much as we raise awareness toward the cannabis space as a whole. So we'll look at some news and events, and then we'll go through some charting. We'll do a little bit of a deep dive as well, as it is the end of the week. So we're closing out the week. We got about 2 minutes left in the trading day, and SPY's looking to close at all-time high records. So we'll jump into some charting here in just a moment. So we'll look at some news and articles that popped up today. So we saw that Nancy Pelosi sees momentum after the negative job report showing job growth slowing. And we saw, I'm just going to cruise through these. You guys can read them on your own time, but Biden warns the economy is stalling after dire jobs report calls for urgent action on stimulus. So then we saw the White House signals no rush on stimulus. We don't believe the recovery is in jeopardy. So again, the left and the right are so far apart, it's not even funny. And the Trump administration, the White House saying that they're not worried about the recovery, and Biden saying it's a dire need to start getting stimulus passed. So it's a little bit of conflicting information there. Hard to say which one to believe, right? But we'll soon find out here if stimulus gets passed, as it does seem to be gaining some momentum. Non-farm payrolls rose 245,000 in November versus 469,000 expected. So those are the numbers that they were showing that the second wave, third wave, and rising cases are showing signs of slowing in the economy. And then we had 4 warning signs in the November jobs report. This feels like the calm before the storm. The economy added 245,000 jobs in November, and the unemployment rate fell to 6.7%. But economists were worried by slowing job growth, a shrinking labor force, rising long-term unemployment, and elevated joblessness among Black workers. So again, they just go off to show some charts, and basically slowing growth to decelerating job growth is perhaps the most alarming signal in the November job report. And last month's bounce is well short of the rebound in May and June. And I've been calling this out for a while. I anticipated this to happen because of the seasonality, because of the jobs that ended in October, that type of thing. Then we see people in November start to claim those initial jobless claims. So I think that's majority of the reason why. Obviously the second wave and third wave in some areas, and the huge rising number of cases, and the new lockdown measures obviously eating into that as well. We also saw a report from the restaurant industry losing jobs for the first time since April as new restrictions hit employment. We saw that businesses and restaurants in Ontario were just, begging and at their knees asking the government to, loosen the restrictions, as they were very concerned about their longevity. I did a video on this. You can check that out earlier today. Just go to my channel, search US House passes historic bill, and I go over that in detail. But we did see CNBC post an article as well. It was on Yahoo Finance is starting to make its rounds. House passes bill to decriminalize marijuana, sets steps to wipe out convictions. And you might be wondering why stocks started to sell off a little bit as soon as that report came out. And again, I mentioned it in yesterday's video. It could likely be a sell the news, because generally when we have a known event, when we run up to that event, we usually have a sell the news. Not always, but majority of the time. And in this case, not only did we have a known event, the majority of traders and investors already expected the House to pass it. So we have a known event, we run up into said known event, And then we also had a third contributing factor that people were already expecting it to pass. So what they did was they lured in the less savvy, sophisticated investors, and then they bought it right up until the news that everybody already was expecting anyway. And then that's why we have that sell the news type of event there. So the House passed a bill to decriminalize marijuana at the federal level and set up a process to expunge previous convictions. It is unclear if the bill would gain any traction in the Republican-held Senate. But again, we have some runnings up for grabs in January 5th. So if the Democrats do grab a couple more seats in the Senate, it could bode well for marijuana legalization. The bill's proponents described it as a racial justice initiative and one step to reduce the harm of federal war on drugs caused to the people of color. The House passed a bill Friday to decriminalize marijuana. And again, it was 228 to 164. You can check out my video from earlier today. I go in depth on the article and what that means. So why Congress finally voting on cannabis legalization is a watershed moment. So we saw Kim Rivers from Trulieve was being interviewed. So essentially, we have 68% of Americans support legalizing cannabis. That's up 60% from 4 years ago. It really is a watershed moment. Trulieve CEO Kim Rivers told Yahoo Finance. So now, of course, the devil is in the details, and we'll start to talk about what legalization means. But to even have the conversation around the actual policy is in itself a huge step. So let's take a look here, see if there's anything else. So obviously more states legalizing is going to bode well for it as well. The tax burden being mitigated is perhaps most notable for companies like Trulieve, which pays more than $43 million in federal taxes in 2019. Changes in tax policy that would stem from cannabis being federally rescheduled could reduce the company's tax burden by more than 16 million, Rivers previously said. So obviously going to be a huge break there in terms of finances and taxes. It will also open options up to, you know, mainstream lending and capital raising through traditional forms of financing. So that's pretty much all that article had to say. I also did a video on Hexo earlier today about their earnings coming up. So they have their first quarter 2021 financial results and host investor webcast. That's going to be on December 14th. That'll be before the market open. And on December 11th, we have the annual general meeting, which will discuss the reverse split. Again, you can check out my video if you want to learn more about that on my stance on Hexo, but we're starting to see more and more coverage on the Hexo ticker name. So with that, we'll move into some charting. So we'll take a look at the crypto space here. So Bitcoin lost 19,000 and we're still holding EMA 12 though. After we did break to a lower low on the daily, we lost EMA 26. We lost EMA 12, and that was the first time since October. Now we've regained that, but we still haven't formed a daily higher low on this move up. We're looking to do so now as we lost the low of the previous candle. So I got stopped out of my position on Bitcoin. As soon as we broke the low of yesterday, that's when I got stopped out. And now we're just looking to form a daily higher low. We do have EMA 12 and 26 there as potential bounce points, but we need to change the 4-hour trend to be confident that the daily higher low has been set. So we'll look for a 4-hour trend change. We'll look to a potential bounce again off of EMA 26 if we get there. So those are some levels that you could be watching as well. And keep in mind as well, if we do break below here of 18,109, we would have a lower high and lower low and a confirmed daily downtrend. So that would be notable. We didn't really get much of a bounce on the daily though, about $300 bounce here, but I would still consider that a daily downtrend. So most important short-term support for me is going to be 18,109. But daily consolidation underway. Let's just take a look at Bitcoin as well on the weekly. So we're above the 10-week moving average. We haven't formed a weekly higher low in quite some time as well. The stochastic is looking to cross bearish, and the MACD continues to astound and blast off into a parabola. But as we know, things that go straight up tend to go back down twice as fast. Taking a look at the daily, we're well above the 50, 100, and 200-day moving average. And the MACD is already crossed bearish, so notable as well. That's where we stand on Bitcoin, all about the 4-hour trend at this point. Taking a look at SPY, so SPY with a record, new all-time high close. Congrats to the bulls. We did have volume waning a little bit here today, so not really a huge concern. As we know, SPY doesn't need a lot of volume to continue to keep going up. We are approaching daily overbought, but not quite there yet, so it's just been a slow and steady grind up. On the weekly, not overbought, and on the monthly, not overbought yet either. But we do have this, we're watching this descending or this bearish divergence on the monthly. We're breaking to new highs, and we are above, we closed above that resistance line here from this megaphone pattern as well. So that is in itself is bullish. We closed above the weekly or the monthly Bollinger Band, bullish as well, but this could also be due for a pullback. It's really going, you just make sure you're using stop losses is basically the main point there. But looks like we have a extremely bullish close on the weekly. That's also the highest weekly close that we have. Taking a look at the hourly chart, so we're in an hourly uptrend, and looks like we have a new hourly higher low established at 368.56. And looking at the close into the end of the day, you can see we had an increase in bull volume, and they ran it into the end of the day up. Actually, it's down a tiny bit here after hours. QQQ up, or sorry, down a tiny bit here after hours as well. But taking a look at the daily chart, all-time high close. Did we hit a new all-time high? No, we didn't. We got very close. All-time high is at 305.88, but this is the new all-time high daily close and new all-time high weekly close as well. And on the hourly, we are in an hourly uptrend, looking to form a new hourly higher low here at 304.71. So once we lose the daily uptrend on most of these names, we can look for weekly consolidation. We know that weekly consolidation is due. It's going to happen eventually. And for right now, just do not fight blue sky breakout bulls. If you are looking to enter bearish, maybe you want to wait and be a patient bear and enter on a loss of the daily uptrend or a confirmed daily downtrend. And if you are looking to enter bullish here, maybe just make sure you're using a tight stop, or you have a plan, or you're entering off of a nearby support level. So SPY on the weekly closed above the 10-week moving average. The stochastic and the MACD are crossing bullish, or have crossed bullish. So that is a very strong weekly close. Taking a look at the daily MACD is cross bullish as well, and we're still well above the 50, 100, and the 200-day moving average. Taking a look at QQQ, we were lagging a little bit there in terms of these macro indicators, but as of this weekly close, we crossed the MACD bullish once again. The stochastic has already been crossing bullish, and we closed over the 10-week moving average. So very, very bullish end of the week there for QQQ as well. Same with the moving averages, well above all three, and the MACD also crossed bullish as well. So that's where we stand. Taking a look at the dollar. So the dollar looks like we have a daily inside bar on watch. So we have 2 hours and 48 minutes left of this candle. So if we do break the high of today on the next daily candle, then obviously the daily bounce will be underway. But we want to be confident. We want a 4-hour trend change to be confident. So we had 90.51, 90.47. So we did break to a lower low there. So this is all coming off the low. So we need bulls want to see as big of a bounce as they can get here on the 4-hour, create enough space to create a higher low, and then see something like this and higher high. Once we change the 4-hour trend, we can be confident that the daily bounce is for real, and we'll look to the high of today on the next daily candle. If we can break that as well, then the daily bounce and daily oversold bounce should be underway. We are outside of the daily Bollinger Band here as well. taking a look at the monthly bear flag, looking to confirm, has confirmed, but if we take a measured move, it would bring us about right down to, I think, the last support at around, yeah, takes us to about $86, and we have support at 88. So I could see us testing the 88, especially if stimulus gets passed, which it's looking like it might. And we are below the monthly or the weekly Bollinger Band as well. Taking a look at the monthly Bollinger Band, we are also, so we're due for a bounce at some point. It's basically the exact opposite as SPY. SPY at the closed above the daily Bollinger Band, and we still got about 2 hours and 46 minutes now. So we'll see if the dollar can continue to get this bounce going. So that's where we stand. Most important support is going to be 88, and most important resistance is going to be, well, the high of today. So we'll want to get over 90.84, and then we'll look to 91.09, but no real resistance from there until 92.80. And then a little bit here at 93.20, and then up at 94.30. So that's where we stand. I'm going to cruise through these a little bit faster here. IWM up 2.33% on the day. Is that an all-time high? Record close? Yes, it is. All-time highs, record close. How did it close out on the week? Above the weekly Bollinger Bands. Haven't consolidated on the weekly since back here at 151.39. So again, we know that weekly consolidation is likely overdue, but we need to lose the daily uptrend. Haven't set an hourly high or low. Actually, we did have a little mini one here at 187.03. And into the end of the day, we had some increasing bull volume there as well. And on the 5-minute, end of the day in a 5-minute uptrend and holding EMA 12 support. SMH closed up almost 3% today. So it continues to be one of the stronger sectors. All-time high close, all-time high, record close, same on the weekly. Again, weekly, haven't had a weekly high or low since down at 173.06, so we know it's due. TAN solar sector ETF up over 0.5%. US oil up almost 1% today. Again, weekly consolidation, haven't had a weekly high or low since down here at 33.67, so we know it's overdue. This could be a potential nasty pullback when it does happen. And keep an eye out on this. If you're looking at gold and silver bullish, keep an eye on the resistance here, this downtrend sloping descending triangle resistance line around the $25 mark, but still respecting that pattern, and we could go sideways here for a few more weeks. Gold, as I mentioned, broke out of that bear, and we had a weekly trend change in favor of the bulls. We held that 1848 initially, and then we went into a weekly uptrend, but right into a weekly lower low. That's a huge red flag, and you don't want to see that as a bull, plain and simple. But we did have this monthly uptrend support line here at this yellow line, which I called out a few videos ago, and that's exactly where we bounced. We are topping out here, it looks like at EMA 26, and we have EMA 12 there as well on the weekly to battle. And it could even be setting up for a weekly bear cross with the 12 period crossing through the 26. If that were to happen, I would expect here a weekly lower high, or at the bare minimum, a daily lower high. But bull's got a lot of room here to form a daily high or low and change the daily trend. So we'll start with a daily trend change, then we'll look to the weekly trend change. But basically right now, I'm just expecting daily lower highs and weekly lower highs. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart. We are in a 4-hour uptrend, so that means zoom out, look for a daily lower high. So once we lose the 4-hour uptrend, then we can be confident that the daily lower high is set. Or once we lose the previous low of the previous day, then we can be confident that the daily consolidation is underway. But we also want to see the loss of the 4-hour uptrend, and then if we can change the daily trend, then we'll look for a weekly lower high. And you just keep playing the zoom out game. But if we took a measured move from here, the descending triangle would bring us down right to about 1670, which was the last weekly high or low support. So that's where I'd be looking to enter long-term. I'm still a little too hot for me. You know, the markets are just in full-blown euphoria, raging bull mode, and eventually we're going to run out of buyers. There's going to be a time where the scales tip, and I don't want to give back any profits. So I'm just in conservation mode and playing it super conservative. But that's pretty much where we stand on gold. XBI up almost 2% today. And looks like we had an all-time high and record close as well. New daily higher low established here at 130.84. XHB down a little less than 0.5%. And XLE energy sector looks like that's not an all-time high close. We do have increasing bull volume here. And we did close at 40.63 above 40.42 resistance. So that is a point in favor of the bulls. XLF, same deal, not an all-time high or record close, but we did close above the 28.69 resistance. And it looks like we have a new daily higher low established here at 27.83, most important support on the daily. After that, we'll look to resistance at nothing really until 31.38. XLRE, the real estate trust sector, up 1.33%. Looks like the daily higher low here at 36.54 has been established. Bounced off EMA 26. Healthcare sector up a little over 1%. Again, not a record all-time high or record close, but it's been quite some time. This is all coming off the low here on this daily bounce. So we haven't formed a daily higher low. So bulls have tons of room, got about 4.5%, little under 4.5% to form that daily higher low, and could potentially expect to see that higher low established around EMA 12 and 26 here around 109 or 110. So that's where we stand in the healthcare sector. Taking a look at some overall individual names and tickers. JMIA was down 5%, NEO down 5%. And I had a couple people asking about NEO today. So we did change the daily trend. We lost we formed a lower high and lower low. We're now in a daily downtrend. Could this be a potential lower high and lower low into a continuation of that downtrend? We also have EMA 12 crossing through EMA 26. Looks like it's ready to start its crossing and its descent down. And looks like the RSI's heading to the basement here fairly quickly as well. So most important short-term daily support is going to be 38.43, and then no real resistance up here until 55.55 and 57.20 all-time high. But we have EMA 26 at 43.71, which we closed below, and EMA 12 at 47.27, which we closed below. So not good, we do have a little bit of a lower wick there, but I would have liked to see us close above that on the daily. I personally wouldn't be entering this name here. We also didn't have any weekly consolidation, which I mentioned. I had a couple people ask me around when it was at 55, if you think it's going to 60. Well, I said, I think there's a way higher chance of it going to 30 or 40 than it going to 60 from 55. And that's exactly what happened. We dropped 33%. You can see here we didn't have a weekly higher low, a really meaningful weekly higher low, since all the way back here in March. And then if we take it a step further and look at the monthly, we still haven't started monthly consolidation. We still haven't broken the low of the previous month. And when this happens, this could easily drop to 20, 40, 50%. So if you are in this name and you've seen, I mean, we've gone from $2 to $55. I mean, how much more do you really think this is going to run? I mean, you got to kind of get real with yourself here. It's up 20x. It's up 20x in 6 months. So a little over 6 months. Personally, I'd be taking this off my watch list as a long-term entry. If you're going to day trade it or swing trade it with a stop off support, then great. I mean, there was we were looking for a daily higher low here. And when we were looking for that daily higher low, we had an hourly oversold conditions. And that turned out to be a huge reward. Could enter at 38 and you had 25% upside in one day. So that's an example of a swing trade. Could have entered off 38.43. we had support levels there at $38. So you could have entered on that support level and put your stop below 38. Maybe you put it at 37 or 36 and boom, you would have made 25%. So that's why you need to enter off support levels. Don't just blindly enter names for the sake of entering because you feel FOMO, right? I've been trading now for 5 years I've been really trading for a couple of years now, and I've been trading for about 5 years and investing for about over 10 years. And I don't feel FOMO anymore. Even with Bitcoin breaking out to all-time highs, Bitcoin could potentially be setting a daily lower high and lower low here into a downtrend. So you just got to look at the most probable scenario. BlackBerry up 14%. I know a couple people were asking about this in the group today. You can see here the entry. So the entry was back here at 444 when we essentially double bottomed there at 437. Obviously, we didn't have the Amazon news back then, so no one cared about it. But then we broke 525 and confirmed a daily uptrend. So there was another entry. So you had to double bottom essentially. Could have put your stop under 437 or $4. Risk 10% or so to make over 100%. And then you could have entered on the break of 525 on the daily trend change. And then another entry, you could have entered here on this higher low at 582 and the touch of EMA 12, which we've been holding since we changed the daily trend and that low and double bottom of 444. So if you didn't enter then we had two daily inside bars. That broke bullish today. So as soon as we broke 761, you could have entered and you would have made over 10%, about 12%. So there's still plays to be had. I wouldn't be entering long here. I'd want to see at least a daily higher low and then maybe even a weekly higher low. If it was NEO, I'd definitely want a weekly higher low at the bare minimum. But with BlackBerry, I'd probably say a daily higher low would suffice. But personally, I'd like to see it fill this gap down here around 620s, $6 range. Enter maybe on EMA 12, scale in a couple orders, maybe on EMA 12, EMA 26, the gap fill. Just develop a plan. And if you don't have a plan or if you're not sure, then don't be afraid to ask for help. You can leave a comment below. You can check out pursuitofwealthgroup.com, check out powgroup.ca. You can join us for a 1 week free trial. That's all we do day in, day out is help people. And we don't give financial advice. It's just for educational and entertainment purposes only. We can tell you what we would do in your shoes. But again, nothing's to be taken as a buy or sell recommendation. And you can check us out for a 1 week free trial, no credit card required. So that's where we stand on BlackBerry. Let's take a look into the end of the day here. We did have a little bit of sell volume, but overall holding EMAs as well. So extremely bullish into the close. Snow up 14%, SU, Suncor up over 8%, DOCU up over 5%, MU up to $73. MU is just blasting. After being sideways here for so long, we had that pennant that broke, bearish, and then we confirmed a daily uptrend. Then we went into a daily downtrend, confirmed another daily uptrend, lost the uptrend, back into a daily uptrend, and now the bulls just haven't looked back. So congrats to the MU bulls. That's pretty much where we stand. Apple closed down over a little over 0.5% today. Amazon still potentially watching this weekly head and shoulders pattern. Again, we're starting to negate it longer as the more the time goes on, but still not completely ruling that as out of the equation. Tesla, how did Tesla do today? Closed up a little under 1%, but couldn't get over $600 psychological. But we did break we had a new all-time high this week, but bulls just couldn't muster it up today. And looking to set a daily higher low here at 541. Did we change the hourly trend? Yes, we did. So it looks like the daily higher low is established. So that's where we stand on Tesla. See if there's anything else here. We'll do a quick check-in on the MJ space as we did have that news come out. So we had Afria down 3%. APHA down a little over 1%, CGC essentially flat, Cron down almost 2%, Hexo down 7%. Let's take a look at so TGOD had some dilution, Sundial down 14% as well. I think that had some dilution news as well. Bull list, we have Oxley and RIV, Labs, PCLO, BLNS, APHA. But you can see here, as soon as that sell the news event came out from the house, you can see that's exactly when we dropped. We dropped on Aurora about 12%. And then we were looking to form a 5-minute uptrend, which we have yet to do. Just taking a look at the 15-minute. Still haven't changed the 15-minute trend either. So on CGC, we changed the 5-minute trend with a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. And then we essentially double bottomed here, 28.52, and looking to break to a higher high. Continue that 5-minute uptrend, but we still haven't changed the 15-minute trend. So we're looking to establish a 15-minute higher low here at 28.49. But let's take a look at CGC on the weekly. So we closed, the MACD and stochastic are trending up, and we closed above the 10-week moving average, and we're curling up here, starting to go vertical. It's looking real good for the CGC and the Canadian LPs. On the daily, we're well above the 5,100 and the 200-day moving average. The MACD is starting to wane here a little bit on the daily, but still cross bullish. Just take a look at APHA on the weekly. So same deal. Everything just blasting off. Cron, ACB, even Aurora starting to impress. Hexo. Look at that weekly volume, record weekly volume in company history. MACD and stochastic cross bullish. We closed over 78 cents, which was the 10-week moving average, which is bullish. And we closed at 108, which we have support at 108. And it's looking to form that base of support there, and it's looking good. Need to get over this 130 level here, essentially. If we can get over this ceiling at 130, then we're off to the races. 150, then $2 psychological, essentially. So that's where we stand on some of those weekly charts. Again, we'll take a look at APHA, same deal. Cron, hit that golden cross a few days ago. I sold my position though on Cron. ACB, moving averages trying to curl. Imagine if we got a golden cross here on ACB. That would mean this price, the share price would skyrocket. A lot of people eyeing Aurora and Tilray for potential entries. We do have the 50 crossing through the 100 on Tilray, and still a ways away from that golden cross. MACD also bullish. Hexo, looking for the daily higher low, need to change that hourly trend back to the bulls to be confident that that daily higher low is set. We do have the golden cross that formed, and now the 100 has crossed through the 200-day as well, and the MACD on the daily is blasting off. Taking a look at Trulieve on the daily, well above the 50, 100, and the 200. Starting to wane here on the MACD. We could potentially, we're just looking to form a daily higher low here. Cura closed much stronger, broke to a new high. MACD cross bullish as well on the daily. And we'll just bring up GTII here. MACD did cross bearish. Still looks like daily consolidation is underway. Need to change that hourly trend. Take a quick look at the weeklies. So Trulieve, stochastic looking to cross bearish, but hasn't happened yet. So still a very strong weekly close. Taking a look at GTII. Above the 10-week moving average, the stochastic has already crossed bearish. It's a little bit of a red flag there. We want to see all three of those indicators trending in the same direction. Taking a look at Curaleaf on the weekly, above the 10-week, same deal. Want to see that cross back bullish, but ending the week with the black below the red is generally not a good sign. We do have increasing bull volume there as well. And just taking another look here, Trulieve had a some volume coming in there to the end of the day. Let's just take a look at some notable movers. Not really much down today on the US side. So it looks like the majority of the gains today was on the US MSOs. And MJNA up almost 18%, MedMen up 9%. Ian was up a ton today. What happened to Ian? What happened to Ian? Oh my. Oh, that is a nasty, nasty daily candle. And this is why we don't go chasing. So we had that cup and handle that formed, pulled back, inside bar bull break. If you would have entered on that inside bull break, you'd be up about just a casual 160% in 3 days. So congrats to the bulls, but we were extremely overbought on the daily. Things were getting extreme. We were well outside of the daily Bollinger Bands, and we were up at one point today over 70%. And then we ended up closing the day up 1%. Yikes. Pulled back 37%. That is nasty. Huge sell volume as well. Oh, I feel bad for anybody holding that name. Got above EMA 26 there on the weekly, which we haven't done in a very long time, since back at the all-time highs. And then we closed essentially right at it. So that's where we stand in terms of cannabis stocks. Let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen in terms of the Senate and going into the end of the year. Personally, with the jobs slowing down, I think this could accelerate the legalization of cannabis, but we'll just have to take it day by day and just see how things start to develop from here. But with that, I wish everybody a safe and happy weekend. I'm looking forward going to do some skating and just getting outside off the computer after this video. So we'll see you next week on Monday for another daily market recap. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you again on the next video.